Hello, and welcome to another in our webinar series of tutorials on Label Studio. Today we have something a little bit different than we've done in the past, a little bit of a look ahead at an upcoming feature that is imminent, soon to be released, and one that is very often requested, daily, hourly, video annotation. This is a big update and it's a big feature, and it's been heavy lifting for the team, and they're very proud to be able to present a little bit what's going to be available to you guys very soon. I'm going to be joined by Talata. I'm sure I butchered your last name. I'm sorry if I did that.
That's
product
correct.
designer at Heartex, who has been working on this feature. But before I kick it to him, of course, we have a few housekeeping items to go through. Number one, as usual, join our Slack community to submit questions. We take questions over in the webinars channel. I'm going to relax this a little bit this time. If you want to ask questions in line in the YouTube chat box, feel free. We will answer them there as well. We would prefer you to join our Slack community and ask in webinars, so we have like a lasting record of that. But if you just don't want to do that, or you just want to fire it off quickly, feel free to use the chat. We are going to also be joined by one of Heartex's co-founders, Max Tchenko, and he will be helping us answer questions after the video annotation overview presentation by Den. So it's a good time to get your questions in and get them answered quickly, or even recommendations, since this feature hasn't launched quite yet. But yeah, so please do answer questions. I know the community's been a little shy, but there are no dumb questions. We would love to hear anything you'd like to ask. All right, done with that. Also, you can register for upcoming webinars and see our schedule as it gets finalized. We are now in the process of finalizing all our webinars through the end of March of next year, Q1. Right now we have I haven't put TBDs for the other ones, but we have a number of partners we're working with finalizing dates on. The one we have tentatively finalized so far is for the end of January. We're going to be working with Layout Partner on a really exciting webinar that I think a lot of folks will find very interesting. Feel free to go to our webinars page to check that out. You can also look through all of our past webinars there. You can click watch on YouTube, and then you can subscribe to our channel. And then you'll get updates when we have new webinars, and also you can look through all the ones that we've done so far. Also, our Champions program, it's going well. We're starting to pick up some steam. We have a new leader on the leaderboard, Nitish Kumar, and he is way ahead of those who were leading. And so you guys got some work to do to catch up. Thank you for your enthusiasm. He's answered a couple of questions in the community, fixed a couple of bugs on GitHub, opened some issues, done some other great stuff. This is what the program is for. Hopefully, the prizes that we have that you can redeem, as well as the status and just the general competition are worth it. So we really appreciate your participation. Feel free to join at this URL to learn more. It's really simple to join. And also wanted to highlight a bit of community content that came about as part of the Champions program. We have a new article on the 6 steps to make Label Studio front-end run in your Angular web app. The link will be in the description of this YouTube video. I've already added it. If you want to check the description, you can go check out that article. This may be another person threatening to become a leader on the leaderboard. After this, this is obviously worth a lot of points to generate content like this. So yeah, we wanted to highlight that as well. Please feel free to check that out. And we're having dynamic activities that we add each week that are kind of time sensitive. So for example, this week, one of the activities was and is join this webinar live in progress. So if you're here listening to me live, you can redeem points for this. So I think it's 10 points. So feel free to check out our Champions page to see how you can get those points, claim those points that you are earning by listening to this right now. Yeah, check out this article. And then last thing I'd mention before I want to kick to Den, because you're here to hear about video annotation, not me talking about community stuff. A couple of links in case you don't know. If you're new to the community or you're finding this on YouTube after the fact and you want to know more, here are some helpful links to everything I mentioned. We also have a monthly newsletter that will be coming out at the top of December, which basically is a nice, clean rundown of everything collected neatly in your inbox once a month. That's over on Substack. Of course, we got our GitHub, and then Heartex is where you can, Heartex.com is where you can also find out more about our enterprise and teams editions, and Label Studio is where you can find out about all things open source and also the other links here. Okay, with all that said, Dan, I would like to kick it to you for this exciting overview. Take it away.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, that community activity is actually important for us. I would like to thank everyone who joined this webinar. Today I'll demonstrate new video annotations in Label Studio, how it works in our system. I'll demonstrate it on a project that we'll create from scratch. And also I'll show how machine learning presentation look like and what you can do with it. In the end, I will answer your questions, and I'll also show you how video annotations interface will look like in the future for Label Studio. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dan. I'm a product designer at Heartex, as Michael said. I work on Label Studio interface. My goal is to make the interface that will make you work in Label Studio easier and more convenient, in short. So let's start our webinar, right? As you can see, I'm in Label Studio. By the way, I use version 1.3, but that might change when you see video annotation here. Let's start from creating a project. Let's call it traffic and put it in research workspace. And I'll upload a video that I prepared to demonstrate you how it works. So we also need to configure our project, and I have a configuration prepared for that. You can see labels: vehicle, human, tree, each with its own color. And for example, for this configuration, I set frame rate at 30 for that video. In future, we will try to detect the frame rate of each clip, but right now I'm using it here. So I save the project and it's done. Here we can see one task with one video clip here, and when I enter it, we should see the video labeling interface. Let me just refresh my page. Maybe something is working inside. Takes time sometimes.
We've tempted the demo gods.
Yeah, please work this time. It just worked before we started the webinar. Let me check it. Traffic, okay, it's here. Everything seems to be right.
That's a nice animation.
Yeah, our logo preloader. So here at the video, okay, should work. Oh, here it is. So this is the video annotation interface, and you can see some new things here. I'll explain it during my story of working here. So you can see that we have video player with the first frame here. You see some controls to control playback of the video. Here you can enter the frame you would like to be on, for example, 10th. And here you can see the timeline. We call it the timeline. It means it contains a separate column for every frame this video has. So this video is 12-second length, and each second have 30 frames inside it. That's obvious. And we can see that it's working, everything playing. You can go at the beginning of the video. So how video annotation works. Basically, it works the same as when you label images. I just choose a label I would like to draw on the canvas, and I can use keys as usual to switch between labels from 1, 2, and 3, and I start drawing. So let's label some objects on this video and see how it works. So when I have drawn that box on the frame, you can see that this purple line appeared. We call it a lifespan. It means this region that called vehicle lives now in that timeline of the video, and we can see a little dot at the beginning. It calls a keyframe. So keyframes are frames that are like regions are manually adjusted when you resize them, when you reposition them inside the frame. So the keyframe automatically creates. And we can drag this cursor to see if it goes somewhere. We can adjust it, and we can label this way that motorcycle with a rider on it. We can just drag and see, oh, it goes out of the box, so we can just move it a little bit. We can see that position changes before the video shakes, and yeah, everything is moving inside it. And you can see that between two keyframes, between these two little dots, something happens. So it calls interpolation. The region transforms from one to another position. And it's very useful because you don't need to manually label every frame. It will take a lot of time, obviously, and we need to do it quickly and effectively. So we can only make keyframes and make automatic interpolation between them. That's very useful. So let me just label it a little bit more. We need to do it for a couple or 4 seconds to demonstrate you how it works. I just scroll through the timeline, and I just reposition the same region at the new frame, and keyframe creates automatically. I don't need to do anything specific to create a new keyframe. I just move, maybe resize it a little bit, and it works. It just interpolates automatically. So here it how it works. We can play that video and see that object is tracked by us. Oh, here is a situation that it stopped tracking because we haven't created any keyframes after that one, and it means that after that keyframe, the lifespan of the region continues to the very end of the video, and that's okay. And I'll show you how to work with it a little bit later. But first, let me also label another object, this palm tree. We have a special label for it, and the same, we just move it and reposition a little bit, and we go this way. It's pretty easy to use that system. You just can quickly annotate pretty much anything you would like. And the thing with this palm tree that eventually it goes out of the frame, and we need to figure out how to work with that. What will happen? We need to delete this region at some point, and I'll show you how to do that. We can see that it goes closer to the borders of that video frame. So here it is, and we can see that it started to hide behind the frame. So this is the last time. Oh, sorry. This is, I guess, the last time we can see it inside the frame, and then it goes out of the frame. So on the next frame, I guess we don't need that region anymore, and we need to somehow delete it and remove it. But we can't delete that region from the timeline because it exists in the first part of the video, and it shouldn't exist in the second part, right? So we have a special tool for that. We can just position to the last keyframe for that object and click this button. This button removes the lifespan of that region till the end of it, till the end of the video. And we can do that between frames. For example, if the object goes out of the frame and comes back, and we are sure that this object is exactly the same, we can just delete this lifespan, and you can see that the object vehicle exists somewhere here, disappears here, and appears again on this frame number 76. You can also reintroduce that lifespan back if you for some reason made it accidentally or something else. You can click that button again. So it works like it removes the lifespan, or it moves it back if we are at the same position on the frame. And also you can, for example, delete a keyframe between different ones. You can see that on frame 66 we have a keyframe, and there are keyframes to the left and to the right of it. And we can delete this keyframe, and this region will automatically be interpolated between the left and right one in that case. So we can see that it moves not very correctly, so we move back that, reintroduce that keyframe here, so it will be better. So we can see that we can track object inside the video. We can draw B-boxes with keyframes, and you don't need to create a lot of keyframes here when you annotate manually. And we can turn off lifespans to hide the region if we don't need it anymore. But also we have a situation where we already have a lot of keyframes, and we have pre-annotations that are made by machine learning model, and I can demonstrate it to you. For example, in this project we have a very nice task where a machine annotated all the runners in a sports event. So we can see that they all are tracked, and we can see here that we have some regions listed in the timeline. So we can just drag the cursor and see how precisely it is tracked. It depends on your model, of course. You can use different models with different accuracy, but the main goal of using pre-annotations is to make your work easier. You can annotate by adjusting already existing regions, but in this situation all the regions are marked as other, and we don't need that. We can have different labels like men, women, other, and even blank region to mark something on our canvas. So we need to select some regions and mark them as woman. So to do that, I just select a region and press key 3 on my keyboard to assign labels to these regions. It's pretty simple and straightforward. I can see that all the runners are women, so I can easily assign women label to them. So we're done here, but also I would like to demonstrate something interesting. Sometimes we have an object occluded by something else in the frame, and how it works. This is what are our lifespans and turning them off are for. For example, we can see the runners, and at some point they are hiding behind this I don't know, display or a wall or something on their track, and they going back after that, and we can see that their regions disappear at some point and reappear again. So this is how we can do that. This is made by machine learning model, but we can do it manually. So we can, as I already demonstrated you, turn off that lifespan between keyframes, and the lifespan, I should remember, is an interpolation between frames, and we can turn it off again if we don't need it. So this is how working with keyframes and lifespans is happening. So we have different functionality in labeling video. For example, you can enter full screen, you can hide timeline, you can scroll through your timeline to see the list of your regions. As you expect, you see the list of the regions at the right panel, as you always do for other types of data in Label Studio, for example, when you're labeling images or something else. And we have this overview, like a progress bar that you can just scroll to see what happens in your timeline during the video, how regions transform or when they disappear, and you can manipulate all these tools to annotate video. Maybe at this point, Michael, Sami, if we already have some questions, I can maybe answer it.
We have one.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Yeah, so thank you, Nitish Kumar. I think you partially answered this, but it'd be good to just sort of clarify specifically.
Of course, yes.
So obviously you can use a pre-trained machine learning model to pre-annotate. That's what this example is showing. But in the previous example, there was no machine learning used. Basically, the question is about, and I'll read it to you directly. The question is about how the interpolation happens, how it actually tracks the object when you annotate it between keyframes. So here's the question specifically. How is the region in the Vespa, yeah, there we go, that scene, transformed with different keyframes? Is any ML backend applied there?
No, ML backend isn't applied, and it works just mathematically. We have first keyframe on frame 1 and the second on keyframe 13, and the coordinates of this region and its size, I mean height and width, are just interpolated between numbers. It works very simple and straightforward.
If you have an object that you place a keyframe on here, and then that object kind of does not go in a straight line to the next keyframe, your interpolated tracking is going to be off. Is that right? Until you add additional keyframes for each point in between, right?
Yes. Basically, the interpolation works linearly between two numbers. For example, if we take x coordinate, we have two different x coordinates on different frames, and it goes linearly from one to another. That's basically how it works in our system. So I think that's it.
Yeah. I would add a few words about it.
Welcome. Hello, Max.
Hello, guys. Yeah, as usual, you can import your task with predictions, and as usual, you can add an ML backend to your project, and it will generate predictions. It's kind of interpolations, and we designed this system by this way, where you can we have a special callback on front end, and you can add you can replace this callback and add your custom code to use any interpolation models you want.
Okay. Now, this isn't the end of the presentation. I just want to say, in case people are dropping off, we have a video left.
I just wanted to add that we're still working on that video annotation. It's not final. has some quirks and we're working on it. We want to make it the easiest and the most convenient way to annotate videos. And we would like to demonstrate you a little sneak peek to what it will look like in the nearest future. So Michael has a video I prepared. Can you play it for us, please?
I sure do.
Yeah, I'll stop my screen sharing for that.
All right.
Label Studio is constantly improving. We would like to show you how video annotation in Label Studio will look like in the nearest future. This is how, but let's go through it step by step. Let's start from simple things. First, in video annotation, you will see our new video controls. Video controls toolbar lets you play, pause, go to the next and previous frames. It shows the current frame, current time, and total clip length. For some very simple video annotations, this could be enough. We can create regions, move and resize them to track objects, but we obviously need more fine-tuning. To do that, we use the timeline. The timeline is a panel with all regions represented in time. Here we can create keyframes. Regions are automatically interpolated between keyframes, so we don't need to annotate each frame manually. Unless we don't need our regions anymore, we can cut off our region lifespan, for example, if the object is out of frame, or we can reintroduce the same region again if the object enters back the frame. However, just the timeline is not enough for us, since we might need to work with regions as we used to in Label Studio. Let's exit full screen mode we were in all this time. We call this panel the outliner, and it's basically the same panel that you used to see in Label Studio at the right side, where all the regions are usually listed. But in the outliner, you have even more controls. You can group regions, for example, by their label or control tags. You can sort them by different parameters, and you can lock or temporarily hide regions here. The outliner works not just for video annotation, but for every type of annotations. But what if you need to add some metadata to your region, not for its entire lifespan, but just for a segment between certain keyframes? There is the Details panel for that. The Details panel displays all the information about whatever you select in the canvas where you annotate. If you select a certain region, you can see details about it, including its keyframes. And you can add extra meta information to any keyframe you want. The Details panel also includes the information about the frame that is currently selected in the timeline and about the entire annotation when nothing is selected in the canvas. In case with video annotation, we think it's enough to use the timeline and the Details panel so you can hide some parts of the interface you currently don't need. And here we get that video annotation layout that we showed you at the beginning. It includes all the controls and instruments to quickly and conveniently annotate videos. All these new parts of Label Studio interface is currently in the works, and we will keep you updated. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Stay tuned.
Sounded like a promo.
Yeah, it is a promo.
Yeah.
So let's see.
This is a preview of the future video labeling interface that we'll make pretty soon. We're working on it very hard. And yeah, I showed you what works right now in our beta launched, and we will go to that version in the last video. So we will introduce two completely new things in the interface. It's called the outliner. It's the same right panel that you used to see, and the Details panel that contains any information about any object in any type of annotation while you work on it. For example, video annotations. So the new thing, completely new thing, is the timeline where you control your keyframes and their lifespans, their presence on the frame. Yeah, I hope you you are interested in it. And I would like to ask you to join our Slack, where we will publish that preview video. You can watch it again, you can discuss it, and the most important, you can give us your feedback because we value it a lot, and we need your feedback to make it convenient specifically for you, because you will be using Label Studio. Yeah, I would like to thank you again. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's a great.
Do we have any questions, maybe, Michael?
You know, I don't think we have more questions. I asked.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
I do. Let me check one more time. Stop
Yeah,
sharing.
you can always join Slack or leave comments somewhere on YouTube. We will read it for sure, and we will help you, and we will answer any of your questions.
I think that's a great place for us to finish up. Thanks so much, Dan. It's exciting. I know a lot of people will be watching the replay. And we're going to be sending this video out to all those people bugging us about it. Actually, you know what? I have a question. I have a little curveball to throw you.
Okay, go ahead.
Just because I anticipate there may be some confusion about this, to get ahead of some of the questions that might be asked about time series data plus video. How do these integrate the two? And how does this sort of take that from an experimental feature that we have into sort of the main trunk of the product?
Do you mean design perspective or technical perspective?
I guess both.
Both, sure, yeah.
Okay, but
I can tell about the interface.
Yeah.
I guess everyone appreciates Label Studio for the customizability you can do with it, how you can like compose your own interface in it, and that's the huge feature for us and for you. And yeah, we need to figure out how to combine video annotations with time series. And I don't see that it's impossible. It's pretty sure possible. We can synchronize both and play back them at the same time. But in technical perspective, Max can help me to answer how it will work. What do you think, Max?
Yeah, we talked a lot about the synchronization of different sources, and now our new video annotation engine has some sync bus. We call it sync bus, and it can be used in any other our sources like audio, time series. What else? So I think we will be able to integrate these tools together, not so hardly, not so complex like it's now, because we have some template about video plus time series, and it's a little bit confusing, I know. But I hope the situation will be fixed soon.
So stay tuned, sounds like. I actually have another question that came in from, I don't know how to say this, Mechik. Instead of resetting keyframes, would it make sense to use online object tracking like boosting, MIL, KCF, or others? I'm not familiar with
I guess the question about cross integrations with different services, right, Max?
Online object tracking.
Maybe. Online. What do you mean by online?
Yeah.
Do you mean real time or?
I suppose so. You know, I'm not familiar with these. Let me just Google them. Boosting is one. Have you heard of these?
Yeah, I guess that's about real time tracking.
Yeah. I mean,
I know that real time tracking can be performed by machine learning models, but not humans, not human, and don't know how to.
I think maybe the idea is you can use models like these in a like a
human in the loop.
Human in the loop, yeah.
Human in the loop, yeah.
But we can support those, right? I mean, presumably.
Yeah, we can support it. You can continuously import new video tasks into Label Studio and label them as much as you want.
They're asking, instead of just simple interpolation, is there a way to real time, like, I don't know, use a model on the back end to have it track an object from one frame to another, as opposed to keyframes?
It's kind of Yeah, it's kind of keyframes. Yes, you're right.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Thanks for that tricky question.
Yeah. We'll try to get you a more robust answer as we move toward launch. And Metric and OpenCV provides something like this. Okay, great. Yeah. We'll get back to you. How about? All right. We got another question actually. Thank you. I'm glad questions are coming in. We have until the top of the hour. So if you have more questions, please ask. This is a very important feature, and we want to answer your questions. So Dale Robinson asks or says, I asked before about syncing with GPS and other sensor data. Okay, interesting. So speaking of combining different data sources and syncing them.
Yeah, GPS, I think it's a question about linking time series with our video annotations. And as I taught before, we have a special sync mechanics, and it could be used for our for the link with time series and video annotations. Right now, you can use a special tricky and hacky template. I will send you in the thread this template, and it's a little bit confusing as I said before, but now we have only this one. Okay.
Yeah, usually when we get some feedback, we can work on the template or work on some workaround to make it more straightforward and convenient. So you can use the solution that Max will post in that thread, but also if you give some feedback or you have some ideas, we can use it to share with anyone who is interested to use it.
I've asked Metric to post this over in feature requests. We have a dedicated channel where people can propose features. I think it's interesting. I don't know if architecturally it's possible, but maybe. I think I know what you're asking about, but if you could just post that over in feature requests, we can kind of start a conversation about that. Let me check if there are any other questions. I think we have reached the end of the questions. All right, you guys. Thank you very much for both of your time and for answering those questions.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah.
Look forward to this coming out. Oh, anything you can say about timing?
About
timing? How it will be, when it will be released.
I think it will be released on the next week in our enterprise and within 1 month in our open source.
Okay.
It's coming pretty soon.
Yeah.
The wait is almost over.
It's hot. I know that video search query is the most popular in our Label Studio search system.
We have another question as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I label long videos that are 2 to 3 hours long?
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. We tried to label 30 minutes video, as I know. And yes, it's limited by your browser performance, by your memory in your computer.
So it might be a little slow, but it's possible theoretically with the right horsepower.
Of course, yeah.
I tried to use 30 minutes video and it worked nice.
But we haven't tested 2 to 3 hours yet?
But not 3 hours, I haven't tested it.
No.
But we will do it for sure.
Yeah, we will do it, yeah.
Good question. Okay, bye guys, thank you. Have a great day.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Bye everyone.